Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal, and I'm back with another video. And today I wanted to make this video because, well, I wanted to give my farewell to two very, very important voice actors to me that we have lost within the last, I want to say it's now 2 weeks, about like within almost 2 weeks of each other. One is the iconic voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, and the other is Jason David Frank, um, for which who was the Green Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. And if yes, this does have a little bit of to do with Transformers because he also was the voice of another Transformer, which was the Emissary in the Prime Wars trilogy. So, but I wanted to talk about both, and yeah. So let's get right into this. Kevin Conroy, known as the voice of Batman, had died at the age of 66. And normally I would not make a, like, this is like, it's so difficult for me to make this video. It really is, because to so many of us, I grew up watching the Batman animated series. The 80s, in the late 80s, we had the 1989 Batman movie, which introduced Batman to a lot of brand new audiences. And then, of course, the animated series came on in the early 90s. And with that, Kevin Conroy granted us the voice of Batman, beginning with that animated series, to which he continued to voice Batman in many other animated, direct-to-movie or video games, the Batman Arkham Asylum games. To me, the Batman animated series, it really does stand the test of time as far as TV shows is concerned, of versions of Batman. To me, it's like he was like the iconic voice. Yeah, I know a lot of folks really love Adam West, and some folks love Michael Keaton or whomever else has played Batman. But Kevin Conroy, man. And I actually had the opportunity to meet him, which I'll show this image here. And yeah, I got to meet him at New York Comic Con. And while I was there, at New York Comic Con, I got to meet, Kevin Conroy. I had a nice conversation with him. I told him how much, Batman was so great, and how, how he was just to me, he's like the most iconic. To me, like, that's Batman. And he was just like really, really taken back by how, those kind words, and he just kind of had a good smile on his face. He was really good spirits. And, unfortunately, he had gotten sick within the last, apparently, I guess, in a short amount of time, according to these articles. And I think he passed away of cancer. And it's just really sad, to a lot of us. His voice as Batman, it just worked and resonated so well. So it's just really sad to see, him go. But then at the same time that Batman the animated series was big, there were a lot of like Saturday morning cartoons and TV shows like for kids were a huge thing, growing up. Obviously I grew up in the 80s, so I had Transformers and G.I. Joe, but then by the 90s, I was still watching stuff that some of the older kids would go, some of the kids my age would go, "You're too old for that, aren't you?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm not." And of course, I watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and to which Jason David Frank, unfortunately, passed away at the age of 49. And it's, from what I've been told, he passed away, took his own life thanks to, I guess a series of events, and just things just, weighed upon him. Apparently he, broke up with his wife. And I guess just the mental health of it all, took its toll on the guy. And from what I hear, for everybody who's ever met him, he's always was the life of the party. He was always like really trying to make everybody feel welcome. He was doing his best for his kids, as far as I know. And I guess just things caught up with him, and you never know when life is just really going to bring you down. I've had instances in my own life where, things have gone down some pretty difficult paths. And I mean, this year for me has been a difficult year. I mean, here I ended up moving from New Jersey to Florida, and I have a whole story to tell with that one. As things are starting to unfold, and it's all in good things. But for us, those of us who grew up watching Power Rangers, I mean, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was just as like Ninja Turtles was kind of like still had its strong suit, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came and just exploded. And Jason David Frank's character was Tommy Oliver, came into the scene as the bad guy, the Green Ranger, and then he became good. And of course, if those of you know, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is a American adaptation of a Japanese Super Sentai series. And so as the series progressed and they moved on to other Sentai series and adapted it for Power Rangers, Jason David Frank still found ways to still be like in Power Rangers. He then became the White Ranger in the second season. He became the Red Ranger for Zeo, and then he became the Red Turbo Ranger, and then he returned years later as a teacher for, I think it was Dino Thunder, I think it was. By that point, I wasn't watching Power Rangers, but I know he was the Black Brachio Ranger, which I thought was really cool to actually have him come back and play a Ranger, for all these years, and somehow he got his Green Ranger powers back, because that's a whole like story where you're like, how in the world does that work? But still, Jason David Frank has had his ups and downs with with different people. I mean, I know he's had his crossing with Austin St. John, whom I actually had the opportunity to meet Austin St. John at a New York Comic Con as well. And he was really cool to meet, and very down to earth and everything. And I was gonna meet Jason David Frank at the same New York Comic Con that what's his name, that Kevin Conroy was at. And unfortunately, I was also working a booth, and so during that year, I was not able to get to the signing table in time for Jason David Frank. He was like on lunch during that same time frame, or he had another event that he was running off to, and it was like, so I saw him in passing. There was also he showed up at a like there was the one area where all the Power Rangers fans were all coming together, and I was kind of in the crowd as Jason David Frank was there, but I didn't get an opportunity to meet the man. But he was there. It was cool. So, but it's really sad to see like two really important figures, and one, of course, with with Jason David Frank, I mean, taking his own life. If you know anybody that's going through anything, who even seems remotely going through some bouts of like, feeling down upon themselves. So the number is 988. So if you know anyone who is thinking of taking their own life or anything, don't hesitate to dial 988, because it really, really hurts for a lot of us who were, because here, yeah, it's like apparently they were getting divorced because wife claims that he cheated on her. But yeah, like for any reason that you know of, that if someone is down upon themselves and seems to be, don't hesitate to reach out to them. Reach out to them, tell them that you love them, tell them that you care about them, tell them that you'd rather hear their the things that are going on in their life than to hear what's going, to hear a eulogy given by somebody. And I know I'm kind of having a hard time emoting about how I feel about this, because it sucks. It sucks because it's like we lost two people within a very short time span who were very iconic. And for me, I hold fast to my own faith, and but I still don't. I would wish that anybody who's going through anything. So with that said, farewell to both Jason David Frank and Kevin Conroy. You meant so much to me, and I'm sure you meant to a lot of us fans who grew up watching and appreciated you. And my deepest condolences to both of your families And until next time, guys, till all are one.